Uhandisi Talks started in 2023. Its foundation or how it got to begin was just I came to realize there is very little content of engineers just having a conversation. We have a lot of I know right now with platforms like LinkedIn, engineers kind of share experiences, but it's mostly very technical. Or I got to do this. Yeah, I won here. Yes, I did this. I was able to do this. I was able to go here. So it's really not conversational. And having graduated, I found myself needing lots of information about different kinds of things. And it's just like small information that would make a really great impact. The one that I can actually remember the most is, I think it's when I finished my coursework, I actually didn't know where to apply for a job. I knew there was site, yes, but an office, I have to tell you, I had no idea what kind of office to go apply for a job. And so I turned to Google and I Googled engineering consulting firms in Nairobi. As you can see, I started from a very limited positions because in my mind, the only option I had was either I go to site or a consulting firm, which I think I had known of because of the programs we had in universities. That time we were moving from farm to farm doing some projects. So it was kind of very limited view of what I could do with this paper that I had achieved. So I started looking for information and I couldn't really find it. Then I realized that my peers were also in the same position. They didn't have that guidance, they didn't have that information, just like me. I didn't have it, they didn't have it. So I guess I worked first, and then in 2023, now when we started Uhandisi Talks, what happened was I had a side job, and the workload was a bit manageable. So I found myself having a lot of free time. And there's a video I did I review, now that we're reviewing our videos, on my experience on my first side job. And I noticed that I had a lot of free time. And I guess I just decided 1 month into that job that, this thing that I've been thinking about, why not share the information that I have gained in this 1 year? At that time I had worked for a year. Why not share the information that I've gained in this year and then see what happens? So yes, I did the first video on the very first thing I struggled with, which was the career paths in civil engineering that were available. So this video, actually, I look at it right now, and can you imagine, I still can think of so many things to add to that list. So for such, we can, I think a comment section or something can work. But then there are others that I really feel like a full review is necessary. And one of those is like the talk we did on the video I did on, it was a 4-part video on CPD, continuous professional development, and how to log your points, the PDUs on the EBK platform and all that. So what I noticed just recently is it's changed. I know I had listed for you the categories that you had and what you have under each of those categories. It has changed completely, and I think right now you need like to attend ABK activities to get up to, I think, 22 points, which is so different from what was there. So for that one, another an updated video might be necessary. And a bit later, I think we're going to talk about what's coming up for the coming year. But for now, I think I'd like us to kind of like have an overview of our videos. So I have a list here with me. I was able to list all the videos that we've ever done. I used to do like pre-recorded videos. I used to sit, do research on a certain topic, record the video, and then upload it. So that happened, I think, for the first year. We did the pre-recorded videos. The second year, I got a different kind of job, which was very tasking. So what happened is I wasn't really able to give a lot to these talks. So if you look at our page, a lot was dormant for like a period of a year. And I don't want to lie, like many people were asking for more talks. Only 2 people asked me. 2. And they asked me, Marion, what happened to the Uhandisi Talks conversations? 2 of them. And for a whole year, I desired, to have, to kind of figure out this new work work demands, to kind of find a way to find some kind of routine that will work for me, so that I can be able to come back to Uhandisi. And these two people, I have to tell you, those two, they kept me thinking about the next time that I will be able to have a video out for the viewers. But also, some of the things that I've been able to share has also been like surveys, because I've also wanted to know, like, what do you guys want? Like, what questions do you have? What would you like to see more on Uhandisi Talks? Because Uhandisi Talks is slowly building. We're trying to fit on that shoe. The goal is to become a global home for engineering conversations, and we're slowly getting there, one step at a time. And we want to know, what would you like to see us talk about? Because this is a space for engineers where we can just come and, talk about what's in our mind. It doesn't have to be technical stuff. We can even just discuss, whatever we want to discuss, laugh about it. It doesn't have to be so structured. So I wanted to know, what the engineers want to see more of. And we did, I think, so far been able to do 2 surveys. But also in this talk, I also would like, apart from the video that you'd like the most, it would be really great also to know some of the things, some of the conversations that you'd like to see happening at Uhandisi Talks, some of the questions that you have in your mind, some of the talks that you needed, that you feel like we need to have. And, recently we had Engineers Baraza, and and one of the conversations we had there, Engineers Baraza with Asekefel, was on mental health. And you can imagine, sometimes as engineers, maybe we can never even think of having conversations like mental health. But it's very important, because the work we do it has a lot of pressure, number one. And right now, speaking for Kenyan engineers, the market is not doing very well. And sometimes starting out in this career, in this part of the world, is not very easy, and it's very easy to get discouraged. So mental health was something that I went to that baraza, and I was like, yeah, this is a right conversation for engineers, especially right now. So those are some of the things that I want to hear from you. What do you want to see more of? What do you want us to talk about? What conversations do you want us to have? And speaking of what we're going to be doing in the future, yesterday I actually just posted about this talk that we're having, and actually we had people expressing interest. So some of the talks that we want to have, some of the conversations that we want to see, like, why not do one on this field of engineering? And I'm like, yeah. So we have a registration form for kind of like scheduling our talks, so that we can be able to prepare in advance. So I'll share that at the end of this live. I'll be able to share that registration form where you can register to contribute to a topic, and then we can also see how we can slot that in our upcoming conversations. That said, let's review our talks now. Starting with the first one, civil engineering career paths. So this one was the very first talk that I had, and I was telling you it was because of the questions that I had in that, just not knowing what to do with this paper that I'd gotten. And just asking yourself, what do you mean you didn't know what to do with the paper? Actually, I didn't practice, or I didn't get that exposure before I graduated, partly because Corona happened before I graduated. So I think that was a contribution. But I actually had no clue. So that's where the video, I did the civil engineering career paths. And just to give you that, give anyone who needed that information, that exposure of, this is what you can do with this degree that you have, and you don't really have to do, they're the conventional things that comes to your mind first. And I think I have not exhausted this one, and I always encourage people to add whatever they think has not been included, because honestly I can't know everything, but I try to do as much research as possible. And as I was saying, when I was looking at this, I actually thought I should add a couple more options, and I'll do that. So I think I gave 15 plus career options, and every other field, because as I kept going, I realized quickly that we were getting like an audience from other fields of engineering that I wasn't able to help. I could go and do my research on something like electrical engineering, but because I'm not in that field, the audience are not able to relate to me. So that's actually how the live thing came. Because no, not really the live thing, because I remember the first time I had a speaker from electrical engineering. We actually did a pre-recorded video, and we did electrical engineering career paths, we did PMP, and we did professional registration. It was a pre-recorded video. But now how the lives came to be was we were having comments after the pre-recorded videos. And initially, I didn't mind having a comment later to my video, somebody asking a question, because the information was from me. So if they asked a question, I could easily engage with them and answer. But then when I started having contributors from other fields, then you find that when later on people who replay these talks, when they ask a question, they can't really get a response. Why? Because the speaker is not with me at the moment, and the speaker can't keep track of all the comments that come in. So then the lives came up where we can have, live talk with you, like just the way you are here with me right now, and you can actually ask me a question. Like if you ask me a question right now, whatever you say actually will be popped on my screen, and I'll be able to answer you live. That's how the lives came up. So we did the civil engineering career paths, and then where civil engineers can work in Kenya. Of course, I told charity begins at home, so we started with Kenya, started with what I do, and I did some research. And also this one, I absolutely know that there are more and more and more that we can add. So please go to these videos. If there's somewhere you work and we've not included, put it there. Because what you want to see is, okay, just give like a holistic picture of the options that are available to you. And now that I have spoken of that electrical engineering talk, the electrical engineer used to work in KRA. And yes, I think later on I started seeing like internship applications for KRA. But just tell me, like when you started studying whatever engineering you're studying right now, did you ever think that you'd be working for KRA, the KRA? No. So those kinds of things, so that you don't have that limited views of what you can be able to do. I think then we moved to the electrical engineering talk. So that these were three that we did at the same time. As I said, electrical engineering career paths, and I think also that one we had focused a lot on Kenya, and this we did with engineer Peter or Indy. And he also took us through, because he's a registered professional engineer, he also took us through how to register, like the process, and then also took us through PMP. So after we did that, I did a couple of recorded videos as well on some of the things that you note. A very short video, it was like a 3-minute video on, before you finish school, you need to look at this. So I included some of the things that, in my experience, I thought, engineering graduates, just take note of this. And then I think I talked about also the mentorship session for IK. The reason why I did this is because I thought people needed to know about it. I don't know if you've ever found like registration daunting, registration process, and myself having facilitated those IK mentorship sessions, I think now it's been 3+ years. I have to tell you, I found it so easy even before I qualified to apply. I actually linked there the IK mentorship groups for different fields: mechanical, electrical, civil, agricultural. I linked there. So if you look at the comment section of that particular video, I had linked the links to the mentorship sessions, the IK mentorship sessions for each and every category of engineering that we have. And then we went and I did 4-part video on CPD. So I did introduction to CPD, what it is, the Engineers Act, what it says about CPD, why is it that we're doing this thing. And then I went to where you can earn your professional development units that now you log into the EBK portal. This is the one that I was telling you we might need an updated video because I realized the CPD policy change. Again, this is very biased to the Kenyan viewers because when we started, it was mostly focused on what we have here at home. But then now we're growing to more general conversations and we're having contributors from different parts of the world. So the CPD that I put it's for the Engineering Board of Kenya portal, and this one for where you can earn PDUs from is the one that I was saying needs an update. Um, and also, you can let us know if it's different in your country, how you do it. You can also let us know. We can do a separate video that will help engineers from that part of the world. So here we need to update because the EBK, Engineers Board of Kenya's CPD policy changed. And right now, the one that I noted was number one, you need 22 points for EBK activities. And then the kind of activities also changed. I think some of them changed. So this one will schedule an update, and you guys subscribe, put the notification. You will be able to see when we do an updated video on that. Or you can join our email list as well. We'll email you. What else did we do next? We did the how to navigate the ABK CPD portal. And somehow this CPD video is the one that people like, they found it. I mean, people know the most. So yes, I did that on how to navigate the ABK portal. And then I also did another one. It was a short on exemption, CPD exemption, some of the times that you can be exempted from CPD. I think one of them is when you're sick for a long time, when you're retired, and others. Please watch. Yeah, and then we moved on to, that was the first year. Actually, I think we did so much. We just started out, and it was the first time I sat behind a camera and I was talking to myself. It was so weird. But I think I did a lot. So the next thing I did was the talk now, first time. I think up to that point, those 7 videos, I noticed, this thing, it has Uhandisi engineering. It can't just be civil. So I got Engineer Windy to talk about electrical engineering. I mean, if civil engineers are having these questions, electrical engineers must be having them as well. So we had Engineer Indy talk about electrical engineering, and he took us through opportunities to kickstart your electrical engineering career. His story, he also gave us his story. The good thing about having these speakers is they give you their stories, their experiences, and if you're in that field, you actually relate to it. Actually sharing how he started out as well. For him, he had actually started a bit earlier. And then he also shared like some of the places electrical engineers can work. He also shared some of the career paths as well for electrical engineers, so that you don't think you can just go work at KPLC. Where do I work? KPLC, KenGen. KenGen should be Kenya Electricity Generation Company, at least that I know. Yeah. Oh, and I'm having a like or a love from Oluwafemi Akinruntan. I hope I got that right. You're most welcome to the show. Thank you for tuning in. So we continue with the review. So remember, this is the first year. We're still talking about what we were able to do in the first year. And then we actually did another talk. Why PMP? Why do PMP? Because at that time I was hearing a lot of PMP. What is this? Then I realized Engineer Hindi had done PMP. So I had her tell us, what is PMP? Why would somebody want to do this? Just to have that information beforehand, because that's what one of the things that Uhandisi Talks does is to inform. And for you to even make a decision, you need information. Because this is an investment. And from what I heard, it's not a very little investment. It's investment in time. It's investment in money. So it would be good to hear from somebody who has done it, been there, and you're able to say, why did he do it? What's in there? What can I do after? Is that what I want to do? No, that was the end of the conversation with Engineer Indy. Professional registration, where to work, career paths for electrical engineers, PMP. Actually, I think we did like an all-rounded talk on electrical engineers, and then we added PMP and registration as a bonus. That was the end of the first year. The second year, because of this one diploma graduate who was in Kisumu, one of the two who reached out to me in that period of a year. And so I talked about some of the careers you can have with a diploma in civil engineering. And yeah, actually that video really did well. I didn't notice we had, yeah, because I also had questions when I do a video about registration. The diploma engineers, graduates would ask me, "Can we register?" Or they would ask me when I do the career part, "What can you do with that diploma?" And I think when I did the civil engineer one, I included the ones that you can do with a diploma. Yeah, so I did this one for those for those people, for that one person. Sorry, not people. I did this video for one person. So the feedback is very important because whatever you're having in mind, somebody else is asking themselves the same question. So that's why, yeah, we did the one, and then we did the next. Now, coming year, I think I finally was able to, figure out how to juggle, the work demands, and I could be able to do Uhandisi Talks, and started with doing lives. Let me tell you, so we had a talk with engineer Rufaro. She's a chemical engineer from South Africa, and she gave us like the whole package on chemical engineers where you can work. And I told her, just be free. You can tell us where you can work in South Africa, no problem, or world over, no problem. So we did the career path, and even her, same thing with civil, same thing with electrical. The unconventional places, she was talking about chemical engineers working in a bank, and she was being shocked. And so such things is those kinds of the information, the kind of information that actually I envisioned getting out there. And if someone says, I want to be a chemical engineer, they actually know what they're getting themselves into, because some of these career paths are just societal pressures, engineer. I was talking about the baraza. In the last baraza, we were talking about free conversations and how the title engineer can actually be traumatizing. I mean, they hear you're an engineer and there is expectation that comes with it, and when things are still tough and you're still trying to figure out things, it might actually be very stressful. And so when someone wants to enter into these places, I mean, they actually know what they're getting themselves into, and it's not just because of societal pressures, to have the title engineer. And number two, if you are in that field, you actually know some of the other options that are available to you. So that's why we actually are doing these deep dives. We've done chemical, we've done civil, I did civil, engineering did electrical, engineering Faro did chemical. And in the upcoming talks, we're going to have more of these deep dives until we cover all fields of engineering. Then, what did you do next? Let's see. Should you pursue a master's degree? That was becoming a very common question. Should you pursue a master's degree? This one I did. This was pre-recorded. I did it, but I also had someone speak on it as well. So it's done in two parts. I did it, and I had Sylvester speak on it. Sylvester is a construction management professional. So this was a question that was also coming up. Should I do an MSc? And what I did is give reasons why, the good reasons why you should do it, and why. The reasons why you should consider doing it, and what not to expect from it, because that's also something else. I think even when I was doing the video to the engineering students, I think what I was trying to tell them is this is what you should not be expecting. This is where you should have expectations. This is the extra that you need to do. So this is what I was trying to say is, okay, these are the reasons why you can consider doing a master's degree. Do you want this? Okay, a master's degree is going to work for you. Do you want this? A master's degree is probably going to work. Let me use the word probably, going to work for you. But this is what you shouldn't expect it to do for you, right? So that's what I did in that. And then, since I have not done a master's degree, I decided to, bring someone who had actually done it and tell us, some of these things that we're talking about, is it theoretical or is it actually real? And after that conversation, it was actually confirmed. And then I did another video also on timeless skills that engineers should have. Those skills that there are so many skills that you need right now because the field keeps changing, but also there are those skills that will stay, that are here to stay. And then we also did a conversation, another live, on building global engineering career. This one we did with engineer Dennis Muyonga. He's a Kenyan engineer. Right now he's working at in the Gulf region. He's a principal water engineer with AECOM. We had such rich conversations, and the reason why I say this is sometimes when you think about, you as, an engineer back here at home, wherever you are, going out there in the world, putting yourself out there, you might actually feel like you're not qualified or like you need to do more or add more. But what I got from Engineer Muyonga's conversation is, in the world stage, your skills are very important, because it's the skills that will sell you, number one. The papers might get you through the door, but it's the skills that will actually keep you there. But also, what I got is you already have what it takes. That was actually throughout the conversation. That's what I was hearing. Because my expectation was he would come and tell us, oh, for you to get here, you need to have this, you need to register with this body. But what he was saying is you actually already have what it takes to work in any part of this world. It might okay, I don't wanna say something that he didn't say. So can you go there and watch that video so you you find out about the rest of the things? But actually it was transformational for me. Another thing, the next talk, sorry, AI and day-to-day engineering. Another live we did with engineer Maureen, a transport engineer, and also Kevin Nagumba, material technician. We did with David Morendi, civil engineer and a contractor. And this one, we talked about this topic of AI. I had planned for this talk for months, and I was so happy when we were able to get it out there, because AI is here, and us as engineers, we're actually using AI one way or another, and whether you know it or not. And we wanted to just share knowledge, how are you experiencing this artificial intelligence? How are you using it? How is it helping you? Is there a tool that you know that can help someone else? Okay, so you tell us the tool that you know, and then you also tell us the tool that you know. And for that talk, I could actually have 10 speakers, without a problem. And it was actually very informative. Then we went to a talk on agricultural and biosystems engineer. We actually thought that we want to do spotlights for engineers. Like, we want to spotlight engineers. What are you doing out there? What solutions are you providing? We want to hear that. So we did our first spotlight on Engineer Joram Dochemo. He's an agricultural and biosystems engineer. It was also kind of like a mini deep dive into agricultural and biosystems engineer, but it might need like a better deep dive with places you can work and things like that. And then we also did engineering food security. When we talked with Engineer Joram, we realized that he's doing amazing things. He has an organization called Big Pharma, and so we decided to spotlight that as well. And then we wrapped up with engineering climate resilient infrastructure. And also a very rich conversation with Faith Ego and Vincent Fumo, and we talked practical tips about climate resilience. And what I can say about that talk is that it was kind of like made very simple, like in a way that you can understand, because you see some of these things like, climate change, it's been talked about a lot, and sometimes you're like, you know about it, but you actually really don't know about it. But in that conversation, you actually could get the tips to apply right in your ad, the talks that we've had, like, okay, this is like a comment on a specific talk or a specific conversation. Some of them recommendations, some of them, can we do this? And I actually like things like that. And coming up for 2026, we already have, I think, January, February, I think part of February, we already have talks coming up. We have a talk, I was talking about the deep dives we need to do, all fields. We have an upcoming talk on mechanical engineering deep dive in January. So mechanical engineers, be on the lookout. We'll talk about everything mechanical engineering, where you work, and the speaker is also an industrial engineer. So the rest of the year, next year, what would you like us to talk about? What would you like to hear more of? What conversations do you want us to have? What professionals would you like to see us host here? That's what we want to get from you.